recording here. And there we go. Oh, goodness. Still trying this out here. Looks like it's going pretty well. Um, so basically, what I'm doing here is I've got a. The reason I have so many open is because I've got uh groupings of them. So all these groups kind of go together. Uh these ones I've already completed, but I still need them up here. The ones at the bottom here. I still need them up here. Just because I'm using them as um a reference point. So, but these are the ones here that I need to complete now. Um Basically I don't have anything in any of these yet. I've got all the classes and everything here, but I don't have any stories in here yet. I've got them imported here, and the way that I do things, the way that I do imports, is that I put them all here on my file, or in one file, file exports. It's just easier. It's more work on the front end, but it's better on the back end. It just saves a lot of hassle on the back end, putting these here as opposed to having them all up front. It's just it becomes really tough later on, um, when folder, because as you can see, folder and file. I mean, I try to keep the things as structured as possible, but it's still tough. It's still difficult to keep everything as structured as possible, especially when this stuff gets too complex. But the basic notion of this program is it's like a it's like a read along story. So you're reading along, you push buttons, and those buttons are choices, and those choices correspond to different stories, and then those story parts bring other buttons with them, which bring other stories, which bring other buttons, which bring other stories. It's kind of like that, and it keeps going like that. So the format is really simple once you start working it, and once you understand like what's going on. The format's pretty simple, because it's kind of well, it is. It's exactly the same thing over and over again. Oh, oh, sorry. I've been working on this for a while. It's really the same thing over and over again. It's just buttons, stories, buttons, stories, buttons, stories. Um, that's pretty much how it works out. Uh, so yeah. Um, and then uh, I'm trying to get this done in. Oh, jeez. I don't know. The next, probably not going to get it done in the next week, but I'm trying to get it done quickly, or as quickly as I can, anyways. So I can be done with this. I can get it behind me, and I can do something else. I can start something else. I got a few other projects that I want to do. Um, I did my resume project on here, so I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to get into web development now, and just software development in general. That's what I want to do. Is I want to get into software development just in general. I've got a decent hold on React, but there's still stuff that I'm missing. It's still stuff that I don't know how to do, and like the logic, some of the logic uh, is a little tough for me. Um, yeah, and just when to use certain things, like when to use ternary operations, uh, when to use the and operator, stuff like that. That stuff still it's still it's still something that I'm not the best with. So, but other than that, uh, I don't think this is. Oh, I don't think this is too bad. Um, I'll put another video up here about me programming. I actually just got my webcam to work again. It wasn't working before, and neither was my mic. I couldn't get my mic to work, and I couldn't get my webcam to work. I was doing a video series called Christianity is Christianity Blind, and I'm going to continue to do that series. I want to continue, but I just man, this is the first time that I've gotten my webcam to work in I don't know how long. It's been a few months since I've been able to get my webcam to work, and my mic wasn't working either. But now I finally got both of them to work. So I just wanted to do this. I wanted to put a little video on YouTube just to kind of show what I've been working on, uh, and to see if it works, to see if to see if the video works, to see how the mic sounds, stuff like that. Um, because yeah, it's been a long time um, since I've been able to get this on here. But so yeah, that's kind of the way that I do things. Like I said, this is essentially a story. I put all my file exports here. I've got some of my constants here. I'm gonna I'm going to add more. Initially, when I was doing this, I didn't. I erased all my constants, but I came to figure out that it's much better when you're reusing constants or when you're reusing variables over and over again that you just keep them in one place. Because if I want to change this, it says red to play. Okay, fine. But if I want to change that, I don't have to change it in, 100 other places. I can just change it here, and that's it. Boom, it works, and it changes it for all the other places. It might seem obvious, and it actually is pretty obvious, but to me, when I was doing it, it wasn't so obvious because I was like, okay, well, when you're working through stuff like this, it's not so obvious. Um, and then I've got all my styles are on their own sort of thing, and I like using Sass. Sass is just I know there's a lot of talk about uh people using Bootstrap and Tailwind. I like Sass. I like writing all of this myself because then I know exactly what's in it and I know what I've done um and where it all goes. Like I know all of this because I wrote all of this. I don't want to do, Bootstrap where it just kind of comes pre-packaged and because making like naming classes, that's no big deal to me. That doesn't bother me. I don't find that difficult. You just name them something descriptive. That's all for what you're doing. Now, it's true there could be, hundreds of thousands of classes in a program, but there are billions of words in the English language. So, you can I mean, heck, you could just name, I named this neither button, and if there's two neither buttons, then I can just name the second one neither button 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I mean, simple stuff. It doesn't have to be anything major. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to overthink it. Just name it. Something descriptive. I mean, second button's container. Fine. So and it's the same thing with here. I root all my colors, and then I've got all these because the only thing that's going to change here is the color. The text shadow is not even going to change. It's just the color. Um, and then I've got and this is the only quit story style that I'm going to have, and it's actually all coming. So this whole thing started with this right here, this crap. This is vanilla JavaScript, and this is where I'm bringing all this from. Oh my god! I actually now this works. This right here, this works. This will run and this will work. But I mean, look at it. It's just a mess. It's so bad. Oh my god, it's so bad. It's so bad. And I erased a lot of it. I took a lot of this and moved it over to my React project. I'm actually doing this in in a Vite. But I mean, this is just a mess. And after a while, I just couldn't do it anymore. I mean, even moving all the way down, like you see down here, I started using this. Before I wasn't using it, but then I started using it because I had to shorten my my event listeners. So I started using this, the click, and then running the function, putting the stories in. Now, keep in mind, all of this stuff, what I'm doing is I'm transporting it from vanilla JS. This is actually jQuery, but from vanilla JS or from JavaScript, from jQuery to HTML. So I'm just putting all of this stuff into my HTML. And like I said, it got so bad. I mean, I got to what here? Yeah, I got to here. Quit 11, and before what I had was instead of the buttons bringing well, the buttons brought forth stories, but after the story, you had a continue button, and then you would hit that continue button, and the other buttons would show up, and then you would hit one of those buttons, and the next story would show up, and then the next, and then that story would come with a continue button. And you hit the continue button, and the next set of buttons would show up. And it was just, like I said, it was just a mess. I mean, this is just because you can't really reuse this. You can't do anything with this. Um, but when I moved it over to React, it was so much better because React is better. You can compartmentalize things, and of course, everything comes in components. Now, I mean, it looks like a mess over here, but it's actually not. It's actually really, really uh, organized inside of each folder that it's in. Like, I mean, if I close some of these folders, you'll see. Yeah, here we go. So the basic structure is I have. Oh, let's see. What's the basic? Now, keep in mind, this whole thing is inside of another application. It's actually inside of my it's inside of my resume application. So that's why I've got these containers here in this folder, because there's this application, 2, 3, and 4. So I've actually got 4 applications sitting inside of my resume application. The only applications that I have that I'm not finished with are the Crown one and then this one, the Z Story one, which is the one I'm working. Um, but so for this one, I've got my assets, which is broken down into my audio and my video. So, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And of course, I got all my audio files here, and I don't have any video files yet. And then I've got my simple components. I'm just going to call it components because it's easier. And this is all the components are all the dead end stuff. So it's just stuff or components that don't have anything else to them. They're dead end. That's it. It's just a component, and it can move somewhere or it can be part of something else, but itself is a dead end. There's nothing to it. So something like this, where it's just this, it doesn't bring anything with it. It doesn't have anything. Nothing gets imported. The only thing that I'm importing with this is going to be just the quit story here, um, styles, and that's it. There's nothing else to this component. So that's why I put everything else in components like this. Um, all this stuff. Sorry, I know when I click on stuff, it opens everything back up. Here, let me do this. And my helpers. Okay, so yeah, so that's what's in components. It's like I said, nothing big. It's just dead end stuff. And then I've got all my quit story styles in here. And then my containers, this is where things get complex. And this is why I like to have my thing over here that I was talking about on the right side, my exports, because the containers are my buttons, my intro story, and my stories, all my stories. So my buttons are going to be split up into the first buttons, which it's just that file, so I don't need to put it in a folder. But I've got the second buttons, I've got my third buttons, and I've got my fourth buttons, which I don't have yet, but I will. And then all the button styles. Fine. My intro is just my intro and intro styles. My stories, I've got my drive stories and I've got my walk stories, and everything branches from those. I'm not going to do anything else. Now, they're all different stories, but everything branches from drive and from walk. So, drive stories, for instance, I've got all of these, and all these are different choices that can be made. And then the same thing for the walk stories. But everything branches from the first choice, whether you're going to drive or walk. Um, and then my intro story. And then I've got my helper files. And my helper files, I've got all my file exports, which I showed you before, which is on the other side. The background music, I set something up for the background music. I don't really know if I'm going to use it or not. I have to give the user an option to turn it on and off if they want background music. My button blueprint, which is just a blueprint for all of my buttons, because again, it's all going to be the same. The functions are going to be the same. The state is going to be pretty much the same. I'm just going to have to change wordings here and there. Um, the map function is going to be the same because I always like I do this. This is just a const for the buttons. As you can see up there, and then I'm just mapping. So I just map over the buttons. It's just easier. I like my return statements. I hate it when my return statements have a bunch of stuff in them. I like this. All my work can be done up here. That's fine. I'd much rather not have any of this crap down here. Like anything, even the constants, like all these buttons, because that way I can kind of manipulate them and mold them myself up here and put whatever I need in them. I mean, Now, yes, I can do the same thing down here. I just, like I said, I would much rather have all this stuff up here. It's just easier for me. Um, but so yeah, my helper files, and my constants, which I showed you before, which is just what I'm. Oh, forgive me. Which is just what I'm putting inside of here. So it's going well. Like I said, I'll post some more stuff here, um, just so that you can kind of see what I'm working on and how I'm going about it. I should have actually showed you from the beginning, but I didn't think about it. Um, I might do that next time. It's just start from sort of the beginning of this. But I've got all this stuff set up here now, and I really don't want to get rid of it. Because if I do, then I'm gonna have to come back to it, and I'm gonna have to uh, open it all up again and see, what's going on and what's happening. I like I said, I really don't want to do that. Yeah, no, I really don't want to do that. What is it? It's almost 2. Oh man. So yeah, I think that's gonna be enough for tonight. Um, like I said, I'll jump back on it. Tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's the 4th, so I don't know. Well, today's the 4th now. Um, but I'll jump back on it, see what I can do. But thanks for listening for now. And like I said, I will absolutely be putting out more videos uh, of Is Christianity Blind? Basically, all it is it's a talk series, and I'm going to answer questions, and I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk about Christianity, of course, but I'm going to talk about it in a way that's um, not like, oh man, you're wrong and I'm right. It's not about that. I'm trying to bring light, not heat. I want to discuss. So, um, for anybody willing to listen, awesome. A like and a subscribe is always a helpful thing. But thank you.